We are officially 6 weeks out. The countdown has started. On February 25th, the tech world is going to descend on San Francisco for Samsung's Galaxy Unpacked event. And for the first time in a long time, the energy feels different. We aren't just looking at random speculation or blurry photos on Twitter anymore. The leaks regarding the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra are solid. They are consistent. We are seeing benchmark data, early software builds, and supply chain reports that all point in the exact same direction. And if you are a Samsung fan, or even just a tech enthusiast who felt a little bored last year, you need to pay attention. Because it looks like Samsung is finally trying to change the conversation. Let's be honest with each other for a second. We need to talk about the Galaxy S25 Ultra. It wasn't a bad phone. In fact, it was a great phone. It was powerful, it was polished, and it was incredibly reliable. But it was also safe. It felt like Samsung was playing defense. They were refining the edges rather than reinventing the wheel. Meanwhile, we watched Apple and other competitors pushing harder, making visible changes, and taking risks. For a lot of die-hard Ultra fans, the S25 felt a little disappointing. It felt like a placeholder. That is exactly why the S26 Ultra matters so much. This isn't just another annual update. This is Samsung responding to that feedback. This is Samsung realizing that good enough isn't enough anymore. The biggest sign that things are changing is how Samsung is handling features this year. Usually, the Ultra model gets all the cool toys, and the regular models get the leftovers. That strategy seems to be shifting. One of the headline upgrades leaked for this year is something called the AI privacy display. Now, on paper, this sounds technical. It blocks side-angle viewing. But think about what that means in real life. If you're on a bus, or in a coffee shop, or sitting on a plane, the person next to you can't glance over and read your texts or see your emails. It is a digital privacy filter built right into the glass. That is a massive quality of life improvement for anyone who uses their phone in public. But here is the kicker, and this is where the strategy shift happens. Based on the One UI 8.5 leaks, this isn't just an Ultra-exclusive feature. It is expected to come to the entire Galaxy S26 lineup. That is a huge deal. It shows that Samsung is finally willing to spread meaningful, high-end features across all their models, instead of locking everything behind the most expensive device. They're lifting the floor, not just raising the ceiling. Then we have the software side of things. Samsung is doubling down on Galaxy AI, but they are pivoting. Last year, a lot of the AI stuff felt like a party trick. It was cool to show your friends once, but you rarely used it. The S26 Ultra seems focused on practical AI. There is a new system being reported that suggests actions based specifically on what is on your screen. It is context-aware. There is also a smarter browsing assistant. This isn't just about summarizing a web page anymore. This thing can translate, summarize, and even answer specific questions about the article you are reading in real time. It is clearly aimed at everyday use. It isn't flashy for the sake of being flashy. It is designed to save you time. That is the direction Samsung seems to be leaning into, and it is a welcome change. Now, we have to talk about the design because this is going to be controversial. Samsung is changing course. For the last few years, we have grown to love that floating camera lens look. It was clean, minimal, and very distinct. Well, say goodbye to it. The S26 Ultra is reportedly moving to a dual-layer camera island. Imagine a thin base layer and then a thicker top section where the lenses actually sit. It is a completely different aesthetic. The phone itself is actually thinner than the S25 Ultra, which is great for pocketability, but visually, this design is going to divide people. Some people are going to hate losing that clean, floating look. It might feel like a step backward to the older camera bumps we used to see. Even if Samsung is doing this for structural reasons or to fit better internal components, it is a risk. It breaks the visual consistency they have built over the last few years. The display story is a bit more grounded, but honestly, that is a good thing. We have all seen the obsession with bezel-less phones. Manufacturers chase thinner and thinner bezels just to break records. The S26 Ultra will have thinner bezels, yes, but they are not chasing the industry record. They won't be the absolute thinnest. And you know what? That is probably for the best. When bezels get too thin, you start getting accidental touches. You try to hold the phone to watch a video, and your palm accidentally skips the track or pauses the content. It is frustrating. Samsung seems to have realized that at a normal viewing distance, you don't notice a millimeter difference anyway. Slightly thicker bezels, and we're talking barely thicker, help reduce those accidental touches and make the phone more usable. It is a pragmatic choice over a vanity metric. Let's move on to the cameras, because this is usually the main reason people buy the Ultra. If you're hoping for a massive, earth-shattering hardware overhaul, you might need to lower your expectations slightly. But that doesn't mean it isn't better. The big news is consistency. The entire Galaxy S26 lineup is expected to shoot 24-megapixel photos by default. There will be a simple toggle to switch this on or off. This is a big jump in detail from the standard 12 megapixels we're used to. But the real upgrade is under the hood. The image processing is noticeably faster. We're talking about shaving seconds off the processing time per shot. The detail jump should be very visible, especially in textures and lighting. On the video side, things are getting serious for creators. Samsung is adding support for uncompressed raw video through a new codec. This is huge if you like to edit your footage on a computer afterwards. It gives you so much more data to work with. They have also improved noise reduction specifically tuned for video. Low-light video has always been a battleground for smartphones, and it sounds like Samsung is trying to clean up that graininess. This suggests they're focusing on quality and consistency rather than just slapping a 200x zoom sticker on the box and calling it a day. It is refinement, not revolution. If you wanted a totally new camera system, this might feel underwhelming. But if you wanted a camera that is faster and more reliable, this is good news. Performance is where the S26 Ultra is going to flex its muscles. We're looking at the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 for Galaxy. The benchmark results we are seeing are extremely strong. It is clearly ahead of last year's chip, which is expected. But what is interesting is that it is outperforming the same chip in other phones. Samsung seems to have access to higher clock speeds again, for Galaxy exclusive tuning. On paper, this makes the S26 Ultra one of the fastest smartphones ever tested. It is competing directly with Apple's latest silicon, and in some multi-core tests, it might even be winning. And for those in regions that get the Exynos chips, don't panic yet. The Exynos 2600 variant is looking far more competitive than previous generations. Early results show it keeping up nicely. However, there's a catch. There is always a catch. Higher clock speeds and raw power usually mean one thing: heat. Overheating has already shown up in testing on other phones using similar high-performance tuning. Physics is physics. If you push a chip harder, it gets hotter. How Samsung manages thermals is going to be the deciding factor here. You can have the fastest car in the world, but if the engine overheats after one lap, it doesn't matter. Raw power is impressive for marketing slides, but sustained performance is what affects your gaming session or your video rendering. We need to see if the cooling system inside that thinner body can handle the heat of the Gen 5 chip. So, when you step back and look at the Galaxy S26 Ultra as a whole package, the narrative becomes clear. This feels like a course correction. Samsung isn't chasing gimmicks this year. There are no crazy folding mechanisms on the Ultra, no holographic displays, no wild experiments. They're focusing on the pillars of a good phone: practical AI that actually helps you, meaningful camera refinements that improve quality rather than just specs, serious performance gains, and a more balanced feature strategy that doesn't leave the standard models in the dust. This phone isn't trying to wow everyone instantly with flash. It is aimed at people who want power. It is aimed at people who want polish. It is for the user who wants smarter, everyday features without the unnecessary It is a mature device for a mature market. The S25 Ultra played it safe, perhaps too safe. The S26 Ultra is playing it smart. It is fixing the complaints, boosting the power, and refining the experience. But now I have to turn this over to you. I am really curious to hear your thoughts on this direction. Does the Galaxy S26 Ultra feel like the upgrade Samsung needed to make to win you back? But does it feel like they're still playing things a bit too safe compared to the competition? Is the new design a deal breaker for you? Or do you prefer the utility of a new camera island? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments down below. And if this video helped you stay up to date, please subscribe, share the video with your tech friends, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the latest leaks.